She was a queen who seized power, a tyrant who silenced prophets, and a pagan who plunged an entire kingdom into idolatry. Her name is Jezebel. But her reign of terror was destined to end, just as a terrifying prophecy foretold. So how does a foreign princess become the architect of her own brutal downfall? This is the story of power, corruption, and a judgment that would echo through history. Our story begins, not in Israel, but in the wealthy Phoenician city of Sidon. Jezebel was the daughter of King Ethbal, raised in a world of political maneuvering and pagan worship. Her marriage to King Ahab of Israel wasn't about love, it was pure political strategy, an alliance meant to secure peace and power for both kingdoms. But Jezebel didn't just bring a royal title to Israel. She brought her gods. Almost immediately, she convinced Ahab to build a grand temple for the idol Baal in the capital city of Samaria. Soon, altars to Baal and his consort Asherah dotted the landscape, all funded by the crown. Jezebel installed her own priests and prophets, 850 in total, who all feasted at the royal table. For the people of Israel, this was a spiritual crisis. Their covenant was with one God, Yahweh. But their new queen demanded they bow to another, and her demands were backed by deadly force. She began a ruthless campaign to eliminate the Lord's prophets, hunting them down one by one. Many were killed, while others, like the 100 prophets hidden in caves by a God-fearing official named Obadiah, lived in constant fear. With a combination of beauty and brutal determination, Jezebel had seized control, dragging a kingdom into chaos and darkness. But one voice refused to be silenced, the prophet Elijah. He was God's answer to Jezebel's rebellion. He confronted King Ahab directly, declaring a drought on the land as judgment for their idolatry. For 3.5 years, not a drop of rain fell. The nation suffered, and the tension between the crown and the prophet reached a boiling point. This conflict came to a head in a dramatic showdown on Mount Carmel. Elijah challenged Jezebel's 450 prophets of Baal. 2 altars were built, 2 bulls prepared. "You call on the name of your God," Elijah declared, "and I will call on the name of the Lord. The God who answers by fire, he is God." All day, the prophets of Baal cried out, chanted, and danced themselves into a frenzy, but nothing happened. Then, Elijah stepped forward. He had his altar drenched with water 3 times, soaking the sacrifice and filling the trench around it. He prayed a simple, powerful prayer, and instantly, fire blasted down from heaven, consuming the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and even the water in the trench. The people fell on their faces, crying, "The Lord, he is God." Elijah then had the false prophet seized and executed. When Jezebel heard what happened, her fury was absolute. She sent a messenger to Elijah with a chilling vow, "So may the gods do to me and more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by this time tomorrow." Terrified, Elijah fled for his life. But Jezebel's wickedness didn't stop there. Her most infamous act was still to come. Near the royal palace was a vineyard owned by a man named Naboth. King Ahab wanted the land, but Naboth refused to sell, honoring it as his family's inheritance. Ahab went back to the palace, sullen and angry, refusing to eat. When Jezebel saw her husband's frustration, she sneered, "Is this how you act as king over Israel? Get up and eat. I will get you the vineyard of Naboth." She then orchestrated a despicable plot. Using the king's seal, she wrote letters ordering the elders of Naboth's city to accuse him of cursing both God and the king. On the word of 2 false witnesses she had hired, Naboth was dragged outside the city and stoned to death.
As soon as she got the news, she told Ahab, "Get up and take possession of the vineyard. He is no longer alive, but dead." But this act of murder and theft didn't go unnoticed. The prophet Elijah confronted Ahab in the stolen vineyard, delivering a terrifying prophecy. He declared that Ahab's dynasty would be destroyed. And as for Jezebel, he prophesied, "The dogs shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel." Years passed. Ahab died in battle, But Jezebel remained in the palace, a defiant symbol of idolatry. The prophecy of her doom, however, still hung in the air. God had chosen a new instrument of judgment, a fierce army commander named Jehu. Anointed as the new king, Jehu rode with fury toward Jezreel, executing Jezebel's son, King Joram, on the way. When Jezebel heard Jehu was coming, she didn't run or mourn. Instead, she painted her eyes, adorned her head, and stood proudly at her high window, ready to confront the man who came to destroy her. As Jehu's chariot thundered into the gate, she mocked him. He looked up and shouted, "Who is on my side?" "Who?" From the windows, some of her own eunuch servants looked out. "Throw her down," Jehu commanded. They obeyed. Her body was thrown from the window, her blood splattering on the wall and the horses. Jehu's chariot trampled her underfoot. After he went inside to eat and drink, he callously ordered, "Take care of that cursed woman and bury her, for she was a king's daughter." But when his men went to find her, the prophecy had been fulfilled. They found nothing left but her skull, her feet, and the palms of her hands. Just as Elijah had foretold, dogs had devoured her flesh in the territory of Jezreel. The queen who defied God was reduced to scraps, a gruesome testament that no throne stands higher than the Lord. Her story remains a timeless warning about pride, corruption, and the terrifying certainty of divine judgment.